Welcome back to DevBees. I'm Ashna and today we'll be doing a tutorial session on a simple login screen. So it's a really simple login page that I'm going to create, and if you're a really newbie to Flutter and all, you can just take this tutorial as your first building a UI. So I've done the time lapse of the same tutorial. I've posted it in our YouTube channel. Do check it out and do subscribe to our channel so you are really updated upon all our upcoming videos and projects and time lapses, etc. So let's dive right in. So here I have a scaffold, an empty scaffold here. I've just created a start project. So inside scaffold I'll be giving. Okay, before I move into scaffold, I'll just explain what I've did here. So I have my main method here. So inside main I have a run app, which is where our app actually starts its progress. So here we have a material app which has a home property of login UI. So this login UI is where we are going to build our entire UI. Then we have a debug show check mode banner false. If we give true, we'll get that debug banner, that red magenta color debug banner there. So I'm not going to use, I don't want that, so I'm just using false there. So inside login UI I have just created a stateful widget. So as I type, it is just updating the state, and as I type in, each letter is coming up, and so I used a stateful widget. So then I have a build method, and inside that we are returning a scaffold, which is what we see here. So that's pretty much what I've done so far. So inside this scaffold we have a property. So the main property of scaffold is body. There's a property called app bar also, but for our project I'm not going to use the app bar. I'm just going to use the body only this time. So I'll just give body. So I'll just give a single child scroll, just so that if the screen height is really small and all, you can just scroll it down and see, type it for yourself. Or when the keyboard pops up, it tries to shrink the overall UI, and it kind of gets messy if you don't use a scroll view or list view or something like that. So I'm using a single child scroll view here. Then inside that I'll be giving everything in a column fashion, sign in, and then everything. Every time you will see a login page or something, you will see everything is in a column banner. That is, you'll have a login with your mail ID, and then you have a password and a forgot password, then you have a button to log in. So basically I'm just going to create that much. So inside single child I'll be giving the child as a column. So here I'll be giving a column, and inside column we have our children. So inside children, and inside children I'm going to give a container. So everything is inside a box where I can give, if I want, I can give a background image, and I can give a separate color, etc. So I'm just going to give a container, and inside the container I'm going to give a padding. So I'll give a padding of, let's say, it's edge insets actually. So edge insets dot, I'll give padding overall, so of 12. Then I'll give a height property for the container, and I'll give a media query for the height. So I'm not going to give the entire height here, but rather a small portion of it. So I'm just going to give a let's say a 35% of height, so it's like 0.35. Then I'm gonna define the width property also. So width property, I'm just gonna give everything, the entire screen. Okay. So media query. Now we have the height as 35% and the width as the entire screen. Then we are giving a child. So inside the child we are gonna give let's say assigning assigning text. So it's just like saying it is to sign in. So we're just gonna give sign in text. So inside the text widget, you need to give it as a string, whatever you need to give, whatever you need to display it. So I'm just gonna give sign in, and let's hit Control S to hot reload. And if we see, you can see here it is gone too much on the upper side of the this whole screen. So I just wanted to bring it to the center. So I'm just gonna wrap the text inside a center widget. So just right click by placing the cursor over the the text, and then just click on show context actions. You can hit Alt plus enter also if you're in a Windows. Then you can see here there are a lot of options. Then I'm just gonna give wrap with center. I'm just gonna give a comma here, so it's gonna reformat the code completely. So as you can see, it now comes to the center of the screen. Not exactly center, but it's basically the center of that container we have mentioned. As we have given 35% of the height, it must be somewhere around here, I guess. So till that that whole height, we are using that to get the center of the container. So now I need to give some decoration for my sign text. So I'll give a style property, just text style. I'll give a font size. I want a big sign in text, so I'll give a font size of 40. Let's see how it looks. Okay, it looks bigger. Then we'll give we'll make it bolder. So I'll give a font weight of, let's say, font weight dot. So you can see it's font weight W600, 500, etc. So each of these are different levels of boldness. So in 600 you will get a semi bold text, 500 we will get a medium bold, and 700 we get the default bold. So I'm just gonna go with 600 for the time being, and let's see how it looks. Okay, it looks better, I guess. Just click it on it, so it's coming out. Okay, I guess it looked better. Now I need to give a color. I'm just gonna change the color. So I'm gonna give a color blue. Just type blue and it just pops up on the top. And if you want blue gray, you can just use the arrow keys to move up and down and get the desired color. So I'm just gonna give blue, and I'm gonna give a bit of an opacity so it looks kind of cool. So with opacity, I'm gonna give 40%, so 0.4, and let's see how it looks. Quite cool now. So we have our sign in. Next we need to enter our next child in our column. So it's gonna be, I guess, a text widget itself. So everything I'm going to give it inside containers, as it helps me to control the size and width and the position overall. So I'll just go with containers. So next I'm going to give a container. So here I'm going to give a container, and inside this container I'm going to mention the width and width and padding, as I'm going to give a text field. So it's a text form field actually, so that's where you enter the text, like in how do I say that, like you are entering your password and your name, and also we need a text field. So these text fields cannot have unbounded width or height. So height, it's not a problem I guess, but width you need to give some width. So we need to wrap it inside a container or expandable or something like that. Otherwise it's gonna throw an error. I usually use this container to wrap my text fields in a width, in a perfect width. So I'm just gonna give width here. So I'll give a width of 80%. Then I'm going to give a padding of, let's say a padding of symmetrical padding of 8 from the horizontal. So I'm just going to give a padding. So here I'm using symmetric, and here I'll be using horizontal, and we'll give an 8. We won't see anything because I haven't given anything to see, or like a different color or anything. So I'm just going to go and proceed to the text form fields, and when I create the text form field you will see this a small line where you can type the text. So in here I'm going to give a child, which is a text field. So I'm using text form field, so it has more properties of a form input. So it's a text, if it's a text field it will have limited properties. So I'm using a text form field here. So inside text form field I'm going to use a style property, where I'll be using text style for the entire text what is going to be shown there. So I'm just going to here use black color. I just want a black color for the text, and the size to be 15. Then I'm gonna just hit Ctrl S, so you can see the text field. Here you can see a line. Now I'm gonna give some decoration properties to the text field, so it says what it has to be given there. So I'm just gonna give that. So after text style I'm gonna give a decoration property where it takes an input decoration, and inside this input decoration I'm going to give my label and all. So first I'm going to give a hint text, which is username here. I'll give a small n. Then I'll give a style to that text. So hint style, I'll give a style which is also a text style as it is going to be applied to the hint text. So we'll give a color which is gray, and a font size of the same, Let's see how it looks. As you can see, we have a small hint text here. I'm going to reformat the code a bit. Then I'm going to use a sized box. So I'm going to copy paste this whole thing, as it's basically what I want in the next field also, with the small change in the hint text and to not see the password. So I'll just give a width of height of let's say 20. Then I'm just gonna copy paste this whole thing. So this container is our username, this text field here, as you can see. So I'm just gonna copy this and just gonna paste it here. And if I hit Ctrl S, you can see there are two usernames. So I don't want it to be username. Instead, I want it to be password. So I'm just gonna give password here instead of username. And I want the text to be hidden. It's a password, so I want it to be hidden. So inside text form field, there's a property called obscure text. So this is mainly used to, show the password, not show the password to anyone else. So as we type, it gets like, the password format of dots. So I'll just show you. I'll just first of all give it as false, and then I'll show you when it's true. So I'm just gonna hit Ctrl S, and you can see. So I'm just gonna give a password here first. So I'm just gonna give some random password. As you can see, it's all visible. So I don't want it to be visible. So I'm just gonna give the obscure text to false, and let's see how it looks. So I'm gonna give it to, sorry, I think it said false. It's actually true, so that you can get, and I'm just gonna restart this whole thing. Hot restart. So the entire UI is, not just the entire UI, it's the whole app being restarted. And now if I enter some password, let's say, see, now we can see the password exactly. The last character just is there for like 1 second or 2 seconds, and then it just goes. So that's what we want. So we have our username and we have our password. If I give username, it's just gonna stay there and we can see it. Okay, so after this I need to give a button which says login. So I'll just give that. So I'll give a sized box first and give a height of 15. Before that, I need to give a forgot password. Usually it comes in all login pages, I guess. So I'll be giving a forgot password here. So inside a container, which is basically the same as before. So the properties are also the same. So we have, the width as 80 itself. And padding also. So this is to give a same level of spacing to the forgot text also, so that it is in alignment. So just gonna give it everything the same as before for the spacing and all. From the child onwards, it's gonna be different. So here I'll give an 8. So the child is a row this time. This row has a main axis alignment of end. So whatever children is coming, it's going to be placed at the end of the row. So main axis alignment is end. And we have a children, even though we have only one child. So I'll give a text. Oh, sorry. Instead of text, I'll just give a gesture detector, and we'll put the text inside the gesture detector. So I'm not going to do anything, any function or anything that you can do if you are to create more pages, like go into another page and all. So here I'm just using this one UI. So I'm just gonna give on tap as blank. Then I'll give the child, which is our text, and say it is forgot password. And let's see how it looks. And as you can see, it is quite aligned. Now I need to give some colors to make it more realistic. So here I'll give a style, text style property. I'll give a color of gray with some opacity, of course. I don't want it to be too, transparent, so I'll just give a 0.7, 70% opaque. Then I'll give a font size of 15, and let's make it a bit bolder. So font weight, properties are to have small letters, so if you give capital letters you will get an error. See how it looks? I think it looks better now. Now the final test, that is we need to create the button. So after gesture detector I'm gonna give a spacing, so a sized box, height. Size box is mainly used for spacing purposes. I use it for spacing purposes. Then then we have a button, so there's also a gesture detector. So as I've told you, I'm not gonna use any other UIs or screens, so I'm just gonna give on tap as such. Leave it to you guys, you can do whatever you want there, to go to another screen or open a website or whatever. So here I have a on tap, and then I have a child, which is our container. So I'm giving a container so I have more control over it, of how the text should appear, color, etc. If I want an image also I can give an image. I'm just gonna give with the gradient, a simple blue gradient. So inside container I'm gonna give a width. I'm gonna give a width of 30%, and then a height property also. I'll give a 5% of height, so 0.05. Then I'll also give a padding, a small padding. So I'm gonna give symmetrical padding here. So here I'll give a vertical of 5 and a horizontal of 12. Then we have the decoration property, where I'm going to give the color, gradient and all. So I have decoration, which takes in a box decoration as it's a container, and it's similar to a box, so box decoration. So I'm going to give a gradient here, and the type of the gradient is linear. So linear gradient. So this linear gradient takes in a color property, a list of colors as its property. So we can give colors and give the list of colors we want. Then we can give the start point and end point. So first of all I'll give the colors. I'll give just two simple colors, two blue colors. So the 0xFF is similar to hashtag in the hex colors, and the remaining is the color code. So I'm just gonna keep colors. So a light blue and a dark blue. Then I'll give a begin property and an end property. I have to give comma. So first of all I need to give the alignment as left, center left. So alignment dot, you can choose whatever you want. If you don't like center left, you can choose any other, top right or bottom center, etc. It's gonna give it center left, and I'll just give there. Let it end wherever we want. Give a border radius of 20. And let's see how it looks. Oh, something happened. Oh, we actually gave it inside the row. We shouldn't give it inside the row. So this whole the sized box and this gesture detector, this whole thing should be outside the row. That's why it came here. So I'm just gonna cut this here and just gonna paste it after, the container before the comments. Let's see how it looks there. See, it's much better. So now we all have to do is give a text. So inside this container we are going to give a child, which is a text that says login. See how it looks. So I need to make it in the center, and I need to give some properties also. So text style, I'll give a color of white, which would be better than black in this case. So white, and font weight of 10. Let's see how it looks. Okay, I would give some letter spacing also. It should make it look better, I guess. So a letter spacing of, let's see how it looks there, all better. So this is our login screen. So hope you guys have fun making it with me, and do like and subscribe to our channel, and give this video a thumbs up, and keep supporting, guys. Take care and kudos.